welcome to the Grateful Anglers Podcast. I'm Big John.
And I'm John Bondi. And today we got big news.
What's going on here?
We got big news. We are starting a giant giveaway here at the Bondi's Fishing Shop for the whole month of March. Anytime you come in and make a purchase, once per day, you're going to be able to enter in our massive giveaway.
Oh, it's going to be like March Madness.
March Madness. What's this?
It's my necklace.
You always into fashion, man.
I represent Slim Shady Customs today.
Represent.
So guys, here we go. Me and John, we decided to do a little giveaway here. And we had a bunch of other people that wanted to join in. And there's going to be more people joining in as weeks to come. So we're going to have it's going to be
big.
You're going to have a little box here, and you're going to have...
anytime somebody comes in, makes a purchase, once a day, you can enter. We'll give you a little ballot, you put your name in, and man, we got some great gifts already. This thing's going to grow through the whole month of March. At the end of March, we're going to draw the name. One person's going to get a massive giveaway.
So we got lots of giveaway, guys, and I decided to make a purchase myself. So when I first started trolling, guys, and you guys all know me from the Big John Here channel, I had a wonderful gentleman from Michigan get in touch with me, and he sent me a bunch of his lures to use for free. So today I decided that my giveaway is I'm going to buy 5 of his baits, and I'm going to throw them in 5 of them. And you know who that guy is? Slim Shady Customs. So I'm representing Slim Shady Customs today.
Yeah, Mike's a good dude. I can tell you a story about him sometime.
He's going to be on the show someday.
He's going to be on the show, and we're going to tell.
Yeah.
But also, Dominic Giannotti gave us a good assortment of his jigs. There's a whole pile of them in here. Derek Sawyer from Tactical Fishing has given a tactical... this is a big boy here.
Really?
Jigging special.
Thanks, Derek. That's can I enter this draw? No.
You just bought some.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not March yet.
Not March.
Derek, I've donated a.
I gotta get one of those tactical rods. I haven't got one yet, and I'm gonna buy one.
They're selling like crazy already. Fluger President reel to go with that rod.
Awesome.
Donating some braid.
Oh, is this from Bondi?
This is from Bondi's Fishing Shop.
You're such a great guy.
Lots of plastics. And each week, we're going to add more stuff. So anybody wants to get involved, just get in touch with us. But
and we'll add it, and we'll also mention your name in our videos before the giveaway.
We're already approaching $500 here in free giveaways. So make sure you come on down 3796 County Road 17 in Maidstone, Ontario, and enter once a day through March.
So you got to make a purchase to.
That's right. Yeah.
Once you make a purchase, guys, you'll be given a little
ballot.
Little ballot.
Yep.
You got a little box.
Yeah, maybe we'll have my kid draw the winner out or something. But let's talk about today's episode.
Today, okay. I'm still stuck on all this great stuff. Yeah.
Today we're talking about line choices and a handful of knots that we use. And
well, you're gonna have to. I only got 2 knots. I'm a pretty basic guy when it comes to tying knots, so I'm not gonna. We're gonna let John. John's probably got about 30 knots under his belt.
But we're gonna get naughty today.
We're gonna get down to naughty. Hey, and, there we go.
Big John and I are gonna talk. He's gonna talk a little bit about his trolling line that he likes to use, and we'll just bounce here and there. And at the end, I'm gonna show a few knots that I like.
Okay. So yeah, guys, let's get down and dirty with line choices. What do you want to talk about first? I think the big one that's coming up, guys, and everybody's going to need first is jigging line, because Detroit River jigging is right around the corner.
Right.
And actually, there's reports of guys that have actually been fishing in the past week and jigging. And, there's no really big reports of limits yet, but I did see a few reports of some big fish.
I saw a handful as well.
Yeah.
But Big John, you've been blowing my mind with this this crazy theory that you've come up with for your jigging line, and we're gonna get some comments about this. I'm not sure where you're going with this mono thing.
I'm going backwards where I'm going. Okay, so anyways, back in the day, we all used to use mono. I mean, braid really wasn't a thing. So when we were jigging, I would always use 10-pound fluorescent green monofilament of your choice. I mean, I always like Berkeley, and there's so many different choices out there, but that's always what I've used. And I really used to do well on it, especially snap jigging when the water heats up and the fish get active. I feel that the stretch in the line gives that snap a little bit of a whip, and I left it for years because I thought, okay, nowadays braid's the way to go, and I still use braid. When you're slow rolling, that braid's nice. You can feel everything. But last year I decided to tie a couple rods back up with mono, and it's like it brought me back 20 years, and it still worked great. And
probably the only guy on the river using it.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there's a few old timers out there still doing it, but and you know what? This year I'm gonna leave those rods tied up with it, and I'm gonna carry on. Well, now I know you do a lot of guiding on the river, John, and you have a lot of clients. You have a lot of people that maybe never done this before. So your choice is braid. I think all your rods are tied up with braid.
Well, you're messing with my head now, because there are days where you just can't hook them. Even if you got the braid, they're so fast and they're so gone. Some days a softer rod is better. So definitely, there's not one rod that catches all the fish all the time. So different rod actions definitely matter. Like some days you're just not hooking them, and you put on a little bit softer rod, and you can pull it into them slowly. So I'm thinking use the same rod, but change your line up. Like you're thinking, like that mono is giving that little bit of stretch. Some days that braid is just too sharp of a hook set, you know what I mean? And you can't get them, and some days you need to just ease it into them, and that mono could be the key. Now, you are ahead of the curve, my man. You could be just like with the fashion deal. You are ahead of the curve, and I'm interested to see if guys start just rigging up one rod with mono for that, just to have it on board. So on the day that you're not hooking them, you switch over to that thing, and now you're just slowly pulling it into them. Next thing you know, mono is making a comeback here on the river, or at least fluorocarbon maybe, but you might be onto something.
I don't know if I'm onto something. It's just something that, like once that water heats up, I have a hard time slowing that jig down, Like early in the year, I'm slow go. That water temp hits 46, 47 degrees. That fires those fish up, and I really like to snap it. And I just... I feel that there's something to it, and like I said, I don't know if it's the when you're snapping the whip, it gives it a different action, or with mono, or if it, like you say, when you're snapping up, it's that my favorite hit though. This is off topic. My favorite hit is when you're at the top of your jig and they hit it at the top.
Yeah.
Especially with muskie.
Muskie do the same thing. Yeah, but
anyways,
I tell you what, no fish acts the same every day. Just because something worked the day before, even colors or whatever, you always got to keep an open mind. And line is in there. It's in the mix. Yeah. And you're ahead of the curve, brother. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know.
Just keep one rod with mono on the boat, and on the days you ain't hooking them, try it and see, and then we'll validate everything John's saying here.
Yeah, and it's there's a few old timers around that they'll tell you, especially with me learning this whole trolling thing now, they'll say try not to think too much. You're thinking too much, and going too far into it. Sometimes I resort back to things that worked in the past and go back to them, and like for jig size, I've always gone with 5/8. I mean, back in the day, I used to use 1/2 ounce a bit, and actually my old fishing partner Rusty, he would use that 3/8, and there was something to use in that 3/8 right after ISO'd. I mean, they're not biting hard, and that lighter jig really worked good. But you throw a 1/2 ounce on there with some monofilament, and you start whipping that rod when that water temp's over 46, you're going to catch fish.
Well, there's also a lot of fish in 8 to 20 feet that nobody fishes for. You know, very few of us. And mono and a light jig is fine for that. You know,
Yeah.
it's that super deep stuff where the braid becomes, and when you're a rookie, that braid becomes more important with the heavier jig too. But why don't we talk about trolling line here? Which, you know, we're talking about the main stuff for walleye here.
One last thing, John, I think we should mention about jigging line while you're on the topic is show them you like. We all seem to like fluorescent line, and this a lot of you guys that watch this are going to say, yeah, we know that. But when you're fishing on Detroit River, we like to go with fluorescent braid down to a snap swivel, and then a little leader of monofilament to the jig. And the reason for the fluorescent line is so they always say, if you want to catch fish on Detroit River, you got to chase your line and keep it vertical. If you could see your line, you could chase it better.
Can I correct you?
Sure.
Swivel, not snap swivel.
Oh yeah, swivel, snap
swivel. Snap will come open and come undone. You don't need it. So
Yeah.
just a tiny swivel.
Barrel
and,
swivel. Difference between monofilament and braid. Monofilament's got memory. Braid has no memory. So
my memory's fading by the day.
yeah. Okay, trolling. Okay, here we go. So for trolling, guys, I like using like for hand lining. I like using thick line, and I know everybody's different when it comes to this, but I just like your basic 25-pound test, big game tri-ling. You can even use 30. I've used 30 in the past. You don't have to buy anything expensive for hand lining.
That's the thing. Mono is cheap. That's the thing,
Yeah.
man. Mono is the cheapest. Anybody can go fishing if they buy mono. I mean, it is so inexpensive. It's a quarter of the price of good braid. You know?
Yeah. And now since I've started trolling with the offshore boards and doing that whole bit, I downloaded that Precision app on my phone, and it recommends that you use 10-pound XT. But like Mark said last week on our last podcast, he said if you find line that's close to that diameter, then your lures are going to run the same. So I played around with it a bit, guys, and a lot of trollers out there are going to say yay or nay, but I like using the big game 15-pound XT, and it just that's like, you don't have to go expensive. And the nice thing about that, guys, are all your cold water reels, all your trolling reels, they hold a lot of line. So imagine if you had to do it with expensive line. So that's for trolling with boards. Now I am making a switch this year, and I'm gonna run Power Pro braid for. I'm gonna use Power Pro braid for my Dipsy rods. I made a mistake last year of putting 20-pound mono on my Dipsy rods. And the thing with that is stretch can hurt you when you're running Dipsies, because when a fish hits that, like you say, with that braid, you got no stretch. So that Dipsy will open right away and you're good to go. With mono, you're sitting there like this, trying to get your Dipsy to release. You ever try reeling in a Dipsy without releasing it?
No.
It's a workout. Anyways,
I would tell you the biggest seller in my shop by far is the 12-pound big game for the trolling guys. The 12 is the big one. Muskies is the 40-pound, but it's always the trilene green big game. It's been proven. I've been using that stuff since I was a child, and it's thinner than other lines too. The big game is.
And you mentioned muskie there, so a lot of the trollers I'm finding, I haven't trolled for muskie yet, guys. I'm gonna flirt with that this year and play around a little bit, but a lot of guys that troll do use monofilament for muskie. Like, I don't hear too much talk about braid, but I don't want to touch on that subject because that's something that I know nothing about yet. I'm still getting info from people and learning. But I think the next thing we should talk about is jigging for muskie. And I don't know about you, John, but I like the Power Pro 80. Is that what you use?
Yeah,
or
I've used multiple brands.
65 or
yeah, I've
80?
used multiple brands. Started out with 65 pound, and I moved up to 80, and I saw no difference in the number of bites I got. So I just stayed with the 80.
That's same here.
And I'm casting
Yeah.
with 80 as well. Some guys, like Lake of the Woods and places like that, they troll with 100. That's
Yeah.
a bit much. But 80 pound is the standard one. It ain't cheap though, I can tell you that right now. But you know, one trick with braid, you know, it's costly. Okay, it's real costly. However, you spool that on your reel. I mean, you're getting several years out of that. And then what you do is you reverse it. So you've got all that fresh line at the base of your reel that has never seen the water. And if you take that line and reverse it and put it on the outside and put the frayed stuff on the inside, you got all brand new line. You get another few years out of it. So yeah, it's costly at first, but the other thing too.
I've never done that. I've always just come to Bondi's and buy more. How come you didn't tell me that? You wanted me to keep coming here and buying more every year? Didn't
Somebody
you?
of your means,
Geez.
you can afford it.
No, I can't. And I sure hope that someday when I pass on, my wife doesn't sell all my stuff for what I told her I paid for.
I'm gonna go after that braid. I'm gonna go out and find your reels because I know there's all that fresh braid at the bottom. Anyways, if you've never used braid before, one time when braid first come out, I was a teenager and I bought some fire line and we went jigging by Peach Island and I snagged, and I could not reel. I could not get the line to come in because what happened was it was so slick that it was spinning on the spool. So I had to let it down to the knot to get it reclaimed, right? So what you want to do, even the tiniest piece of tape, tape down the knot to the metal spool, then spool the braid on there. A lot of guys will use backing of old fishing line like mono, take some cheap mono, spool it on there, maybe a third of the spool.
So let me stop you for a sec. Can you put the electrical tape around first and then tie your line on, or because I've always I'm one of those guys. I've just used mono backing, but I heard of guys using tape. Or do you tie it first and then tape
I've always taped the knot, but you know, the metal is smooth. The electrical tape might grip it, so you could try that. But I've always just taken, the tiniest piece of tape and put it over that line, and it'll hold it in place. And one thing I always do too is when I am putting a backing on, so I'm gonna say 15 pound mono, and I'm putting some, say 10 or 12 pound braid on after it. So 2/3 of the spool will be braid, 1/3 will be mono. You tie it on there, you always got that knot. Sometimes it's a fair sized knot. What I like to do is I like to pull it tight so it's buried into that mono, or I take my thumbnail and I'll mash it down so that knot isn't that little bump in there, and you gotta make sure that the tag end isn't hanging upside of the spool. So when you go to cast, you see that.
I've had that.
You know what I mean? So what I do is once I've tied that thing to the backing, I snug in that knot real tight, get it buried in that old mono, then spool it on.
Cool. Okay. Oh.
So what do you think about
Okay.
Gas eating.
There you go. Okay,
Oh.
we're good. Yeah.
Oh,
John ate beans last night.
awful. Commercial time.
So, John, what's new and exciting in the shop? I mean, I see the shop filling up every week. I come here. There's just so much new, cool stuff. I think at Christmas time, I'm just gonna register myself at Bondi Bait and Tackle.
We could do weddings or whatever.
Yeah, you could register. No, it's honestly, guys, he's got so much stuff, and he's well prepared for spring.
Yeah, we just got a big load of tactical rods in. These are the deal, man.
Nice.
We sell a lot of these things. It's our best-selling rod. Local guy Derek Sawyer put this company together. Let me tell you, the guys that have bought them, almost 80% have come back and bought more.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That'll tell you, right?
People are talking about it. And Derek's going to come on the show. He was supposed to come back in January there, but I was off with the big 18 or whatever, COVID, whatever they want to call it. So, but he is going to come on the show and talk about it.
The other thing we got too is we got a massive load of Ranger nets.
Jeez.
The Ranger minnow net, much sought after because the wires, the metal doesn't bend when you lift it up. So we got tons of them in there.
That's one thing I've never done, guys. If anybody ever wants to come on the show talking about dipping for minnows, that'd be a great topic to have on the show because I've never done it. But I see a lot of guys doing it, and they even got like little breadcrumbs and stuff. Like there's an art to it, and it's a fishing in itself. And you know something? I think to them it's almost like better than catching fish because when they're pulling those nets in and see some, they got a big smile on their face.
Except in the fall when they're in the marina there and they're pulling up 40 pounds of gizzard shad and get one emerald chiner mixed in.
You got any other nets in, or like what else you got going on?
We got one net. No, I'm just kidding. We got pallets of nets that have come in, and also we're loading up on the.
Here's one right here. There we go. I got myself a Bondi in the net.
He's a big old fat sucker too.
Yeah.
We also we're loading up on Bondi plastics right now, and come on down and talk fishing, talk jigging, whatever. Why don't we talk about a few things regarding knots here?
Uh-oh.
You
I'm on this one.
You're claiming that you only use a couple of knots. You tie your shoes. There's one.
Well, no, I don't tie my shoes because I buy those laces that are like elastic. Not Velcro. Velcro is not old enough for that. But I do buy the ones that look like laces, but they're actually not. Or I'm getting really good at tying a shoe once and slipping it on and off. So
you're a master.
We're gonna let John talk about knots because I don't have anything for you on that one.
Well, I use a bunch of knots. I don't know if you'll be able to see some of these knots on video, but there's a knot out there, and it's just known as the drop shot knot, and it's the knot. You won't need any other knot.
Teach me, my friend.
I will try. So you put your line through like that, and then so you just like a normal drop shot. You put the hook up, put it right through, and then you make basically a loop like that.
Oh, that's a big loop. Okay.
Well, you need it with this big perch hook on here. Okay, so then what you do is
perch hook.
Well, I don't know what perch you're catching, but you wrap this through like that.
I'm not catching.
Well, 3 or 4 times, okay, and then you slowly pull this end, and then you slowly pull the other end.
Do you moisten it?
Oh yeah, of course. Didn't you see me do that? So then you slowly pull each one. And I made a video on drop shot fishing on St. Clair. If you look at the Bondi Bait YouTube channel, and it shows you, see how that's coming together like that? It shows you exactly how to tie this knot.
That's cool.
Okay, so done properly, it's kind of an unwieldy situation here, but done properly with a proper size hook, that sucker will stick, look at that, straight out.
Wow. And that's cinched on there good, eh?
Oh, it's on there good. Let me tell you, that's a great knot. Just look at my smallmouth tips for drop shot.
Let me see that hook. Let me see that.
It'll be.
Oh, wow, eh?
I'll show you in private.
Okay. Do you want to see Big John's Oni knot?
Yeah.
That he knows? Okay. Okay, we're going to show him my Oni knot that I know here, Johnny. Okay, guys, so you grab your bait or your hook, and you feed it through. Once, you feed it through back the other way twice, and you got a loop there, right like that. I go like this, and I tie a regular knot, and then a lot of guys will put the hook through the loop. I put the other end through the loop instead. Moisten it, pull your tag in, get it down good, and then give her a good
I believe that's a Palomar knot that I just basically call a degenerate knot.
Well, it's worked for me, and I don't snap a lot of...
Well, Palomar's good. However, I'm going to show you another one that, Johnny, you will never tie that knot again when I show you this next knot.
Okay, I'm going to cut mine off then for you. And by the way, my buddy, fishing partner Chris, he can vouch for my knot, John.
That's a great knot. That's a great knot for braid. That's a great knot for braid. I can give you that.
You don't like it for mono?
No. I was at a guy's house one time, He's won over $3 million bass fishing. He's a saltwater guide. He showed me a saltwater knot.
Okay.
And he says, this was like, we were fishing a clear lake. So we were flipping docks, and I was using mono, 25-pound mono. He says, tie me your best knot. I tied a Palomar knot. He goes, let me see that. He goes like this, and he popped it, and the line broke.
Oh, wow.
And he said, because sometimes if you don't tie that Palomar perfectly, that line will cinch over itself and it'll cut it. He goes, look at this knot. He said, this is called a San Diego jam knot. So I've been tying this knot for 20 years because of what he showed me that day. So you put it through one time, okay? You make a loop up here, and then you wrap it like you would like a trilene type knot. You wrap it like 5 times.
I want to set the hook on that line right now.
Let me tell you. Just watch. You wrap it through. Well, this is big line here, so I'll just do a few times. Okay, so I'm gonna poke it through this hole, but I've got this one up here.
Hang on, which hole? Which hole?
The bottom.
Oh, okay.
So I put it through like you would, but I've made this loop up here. So you put it back up here as well. You pull that tight. Look at that. And it is called a San Diego jam knot. You look that knot up, a San Diego jam knot, you will never tie at Palomar ever again. It's like a noose.
Nice.
It's like a noose. That thing is everybody's using that now on like bass tour and stuff.
Well, I'm always up for learning new stuff.
Let me tell you, the tighter you pull, the tighter it gets. Let me show you another knot. San Diego jam knot, drop shot knot. So here's a knot called a king sling. You probably never heard of this one because it's not well known, but it's a loop knot. So a king sling is basically a loop knot. So if you're tying a crankbait or something and you want to have a lot of action, like you want to have a loop, so you just basically hold that over there, son.
Okay.
So I make a big old loop. You're gonna have to probably look these up on YouTube. So I got a big old amount of line right there. Okay. Take your finger like this, wrap 1, 2, 3, put it through, just like that. And I'm maintaining contact with this loop down here that I made. Keep it close to the eye, but you're cinching it down slowly. When you get that loop size that you want, then you let that go.
Wow.
See that? That's called a king sling. That's
awesome.
An excellent knot too.
Beauty.
The other knot I use is a double uni knot. So when you're tying braid to mono or fluorocarbon, it's hard here. It's hard to see. We don't have those two types of line. But if you look up double uni knot on tying braid to fluorocarbon, what you want to do is you want to tie a couple extra loops on the braid end.
Okay.
Okay. And when you cinch it down, put a little drop of super glue on there. You know, that's the deal. If I'm using a drop shot rig, I've got some 10-pound braid on my main line and about maybe 3-4 foot of fluorocarbon. That's the knot I'm using, a double uni knot.
Awesome.
Those are the main ones that I use. You know, if you look those things up, you may not be able to see it on this video real good, but if you look them up online, those will be the only knots you'll ever need.
Get a good video on it. Yeah.
Those will be the only knots you ever need.
Awesome. Well, we're getting close, guys. We're getting close. The weather's breaking. The boat ramps are open, and the people are starting to fish. But then I also heard of reports of guys going up to Simcoe ice fishing this weekend. So
there's a guy in here said him and his group got 230 perch there about a week ago up there. So I don't know if the ice is safe up there anymore.
Well, I talked to a guy that was going up last night, and I said, "Are you putting your machines out there?" Like he said, "Yeah." He goes, "We still got 7-8 inches of ice." Don't go by what I'm saying right here, guys, because I don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, he's from Windsor. He's heading up there for the weekend, and they're ice fishing. So with that being said, guys, we just want to thank everybody. The channel is growing great, and we really want to thank everybody who's sponsoring for this giveaway. I can't say enough for Tactical Rods, Damo's Custom Tackle, and Slim Shady Customs, and John Bondi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's sponsoring a bunch of stuff. So
Tactical rods.
yeah, there's.
Let me tell you what, these rods. Let me tell you what. I'm gonna have.
They're nice.
I'm gonna have just a slew of these on my boat for jigging walleye this year.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They're as light as a feather. Light as a feather. These things, and we literally sell hundreds of them.
I'm gonna talk to Derek because I'm a pistol grip guy. I'm gonna see if they can start a line on pistol grip tactical rods. I'm old school. I'm probably the last guy on that river using a pistol grip.
Yeah, you have a better chance of finding an Amish electrician than getting a pistol grip.
I gotta cut that one out.
Amish electrician? There's no Amish watching this. They don't have the internet. Am I right? Am I right? You got to keep it in now. That's the best part. That's the best part of the whole show, man.
I can't hold it into a cross.
Amish electrician, they would laugh their head off at that.
Oh, there you go.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. As John would say,
cheers, guys. We love yous all. Be positive.
and keep catching them.
Keep catching them and keep fishing.